What a great way to be part of International Women's Day. Hello, Rita. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good. Now, you recently had a birthday and been out, celebrating the weekend, having a good time. So you're full of vigor and life this morning. Would that be correct?
I am indeed. I went away to Cambridge for the weekend
Right.
and just had a little bit of relax, spent a lot of time in the pool, a lot of time in the steam room, a lot of time in an empty gym, which, as you know, is one of my favourite things because I get to sing and dance and no one's going to get disturbed by my awful tunes. And it's really lovely and feeling very relaxed and recharged coming back.
Good. Pleased to hear it. Now, this morning, as we've talked about, it is International. Is it Women's Day, Women's Day? It doesn't really matter either way. So do you think then, because it's being celebrated as an international event, that generally speaking, women are still regarded as, dare I use the expression, second rate or second class citizens or whatever? There's a lot of places where women aren't up there with everybody else for right or wrong reasons. So do you think people are still sort of subjecting women to being less than men for whatever reason?
I think if you look globally, then yes. I think if it was National Women's Day and we were just looking at the UK, then I think potentially making that segregation, not necessarily always the right thing. Sometimes we continue to segregate even when we are creating rifts by doing so. I think because we're looking internationally, there are so many cultures and so many countries across the world where women are indeed still classed as second-class citizens. There are countries where women are, having an affair, not condoning it, but getting stoned to death because of it. There are women who are being forced to wear certain things. Women who are raped by their husbands because it's not that they're in a marriage that they never chose to be in. This is not a way that women or any single person should be treated. But then you look on the other side and you look at the amazing things. Like look at Ukraine, which is one of the most horrendous situations going on in our lifetime, and the men are staying to fight for their country, and and the women are being protected. The women with their children are being protected. Whether you say rightly or wrongly that women and men should be treated equally, whatever that might be, the fact that the human kindness and humanity is trying as a global community to help these women and children shows that, there's a lot still that needs to be improved in the world, but there's a huge amount of amazing people as well. So I think in general, it's just celebrating how resilient women have been, not just now, but across the centuries. We're talking about hundreds of years of women being persecuted just for being women and for acting in the exact same way as men, but being told, no, that's not okay. And I met 3 years ago when I went to the Caribbean, and we were in Antigua, and there was a woman called Mary, and me and my husband got rather lost and ended up not in the tourist area and ended up wandering down a sort of slightly dodgy area. I distinctly remember walking past a man being held up by automatic gun point by several men, and my instant reaction was, I want to help this man, and my husband was like, just keep walking. I was like, right thing to do at the time. And down these back alleys was this tiny little sort of shanty street and one front garden with the most glorious flowers, just pinks and fuchsias and purples and reds and white, and it was just gorgeous. And it looked so well taken care of, even though it was in this tiny little rundown area where clearly it was quite poverty stricken. And this little woman came out. I'm only 5'2", and she was probably to my chin, Mary, and she was in her 90s probably. I never asked exactly how old, but she came out and said, oh, do you like my flowers? And I was like, yeah, they're amazing. And she spent all of her time keeping them beautiful because it allowed other people to see just a glimpse of beauty in what otherwise would have been classed as just this sort of very rundown little street. And she actually used to live in Suffolk. So she was born in Antigua and she came to Suffolk for, very small world here, for about 15 years of her life. And she was a cleaner and she did all the jobs that maybe people don't want to do here. And she worked really hard and she sent the money back home.
Yeah.
And now she's living on her own and still going remarkably strong at 90. And we spent a good hour chatting with her and all the hospitality that goes along with it. And that just shows that this woman who's lived through goodness knows what in her life, the resilience and kindness that she showed to strangers that she didn't have to, that will always stick with me. And that was on International Women's Day 3 years ago. So I always remember Mary.
All right. Okay. So for you then, for you and for what you do, because you work primarily with women, and how would you like to be revered? How would you like to be celebrated as a woman? If we just took you as an individual for the moment, and I know it's women all over, but for you, how do you like to be revered, remembered, looked upon, treated? Is there a way that you think should stand out above all others, or do you think it's down to the individual?
I think, first of all, I'd probably take the word revered out there. I don't think that I deserve or would like to be revered. I think that's held for people of much higher status and class and offering than I. For me, it's just about being treated not just on one day, but every day with the respect that you would show anybody else, whether it's another woman, whether it's another man, whether it's a child. I think as long as you show respect to each other in the sense that we are equals. So every single person on this planet has something that they're amazing at. And I think sometimes when people get to a certain, I don't know, job role or financial income or whatever it might be, sometimes they can lose sight of some of the amazing things that don't necessarily involve any of that, but that go along with just being human. You know, I've met people who are homeless, but their artistry skills are phenomenal. You'll see them drawing and you think, I'll pay you for that. You know, I think every single person, regardless of man or woman in this country, just deserves to treat each other as you would want to be treated. I think when it comes to across the globe, it's a different story because, like we said earlier, women are treated as second-class citizens. But here, yes, there are still things to work on. Yes, women are still paid less than men, but at the same time, women are less confident to ask for pay rises. So as an example, women are still paid less, but men will put themselves out there to say, right, I deserve this. Yeah. They will confidently request or even demand a pay rise, whereas women tend to take a back seat and feel slightly like they need to earn it more. Yes. So it takes them longer. So I think there is still gender gaps that we need to address, but women need to be instilled by other women and society with the same confidence that a lot of men have to say, right, I am worth this.
Yeah, and I'm quite right too.
This, I'm worth here.
Yeah. Okay. Ray has commented, he acknowledged that there are people in the UK that treat women terribly and should be challenged by all of us. But men sometimes are demonized as a whole because of it, because of most feminists. He thinks that the recognition of those of us that truly believe in fairness and equality for all genders, orientations, nationalities, and disabilities should also be acknowledged.
I think that absolutely every single person should be acknowledged in some way. And I think I do agree that to be, in this day and age, in this country, a white middle-class man, is getting a little bit tough because if they say anything, there is some sort of offence taken. There is some sort of judgment made. So I agree that that's becoming quite a challenge in some way, that almost the majority is becoming the persecuted minority. However, I think if we just said that we aren't going to give credit and recognition to certain minorities, then we lose sight of the fact that we can't put ourselves in their shoes. I can't put myself in the shoes of the people, you know, marching for Black Lives Matter. I don't know what it's like to be judged by the color of my skin, and I wouldn't ever want to deem it the same as me. I wouldn't ever want to put us in the same bracket, because they have their own struggles that they are rightly fighting for. And it's the same for women, and it's the same for disabled people. It's the same for people with autism or Downs. There are all these sort of groups who are judged by that one thing.
Yeah.
You have Down syndrome, and therefore that's the only thing I see about you. You are Black, and it's the only thing I see about you. That's not correct. It should be, you are human with a kind heart and a wonderful personality, and the rest of it,
well, thanks,
it's superficial rubbish. You are but the rest of it shouldn't define you. It's part of you, and it creates a personality, because when you fight persecution and judgment throughout your life, then it creates a huge part of your personality. So all of these parts are amazing and unique to you, but they shouldn't be the only thing that defines you. It shouldn't be the only thing that people see. I wouldn't want people to just go, well, she's a woman. Yes, I am, but it's not the one thing that defines me. There are many things that make me wonderful because I'm a woman, but many things that make me wonderful just because I'm me. And it's the same for any minority across the globe.
Yeah. Yeah, and so each people's individuality and humanness within them should be part of that thing that we see. Is what you're getting at, isn't it? It's not the color. It's not the problem you may or may not have. It's the person that underlying that within that skin, I would imagine.
Exactly. I think when, from a very cynical perspective, people, will see a Black man driving a white BMW and an instant thought comes into their head. They'll see someone who has some sort of maybe mental or physical disability, and an instant thought will come into their head, and they're usually not good thoughts. They're usually not, oh, he's got a nice car. It's, oh, where'd that come from? It's usually not, oh, they must be super intelligent. It's, oh, they're a bit whatever the thought might be. These are not thoughts that are right, but they're thoughts that are so ingrained in the way that we are as a society that the only way we are going to have absolute equality, which is what I think should be across the board, is to not stop talking about it, but almost start with a new generation of not segregating, not even, my kids don't even notice. My kids are so young that someone could be Black, Asian, white, girl, boy, is all the same. They're just like, I like that person, they're my friend. And that is, I don't know how, and I am not intelligent enough or socially aware enough to know how this will happen, but to start to create generations where segregation is no longer there, where that we are just people. And I think in today's society, with what's going on in the world, regardless of race, country, creed, gender, ethnicity, we have to start coming together as just a race of human beings, of good, for friendship, for family, for survival, for humanity. To not say, right, well, they're in another country, it's their problem. It's not. It's our problem. They are somewhere, our brothers and sisters over there, being bombed for just being who they are. And an invasion in the name of liberty of a nation is rubbish. And I think on International Women's Day, yes, we need to celebrate women, but let's look across the globe and just celebrate the fact that humanity is coming together.
Fantastic. Well, I put you forward now for ambassador. I reckon the humanosity, if you can use that word, ambassador, I think you should be the human ambassador, because I think you've got the right temperament and stuff for it. And don't let it be said that you're not intelligent enough, because that's, I don't agree with that. But listen, I know you've got to go, and it's time for us to continue some music. But Rita, listen, thank you very much for your time this morning. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope that the women coming across your threshold, so to speak, get the benefit of your wisdom and your ideas. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Rita. Ta-da.
Bye.
Bye.